If you've thought about becoming a Pilates teacher, but you just don't know where to begin, that's why I've created this video series where we're going to highlight different elements, everything from what it's like to go through a teacher training program, the costs, the different formats, and what we're focusing on in this video, which is the different ways in which you can teach Pilates. And this is going to influence the three primary types of teacher training programs: mat, reformer, and comprehensive. So a Pilates mat teacher training program is going to be focused on Pilates mat exercises. And it's not just body weight exercises following the traditional 34 sequence. It can be really expansive with traditional pieces of equipment, such as a Pilates magic circle or a long or small dowel. Non-traditional equipment like a resistance band, chair, or so much more. We can incorporate exercises that Joseph Pilates did, like standing footwork or lightweight arms, and how the method has evolved over the years, incorporating that into classes so they become more versatile. And this is fabulous because Pilates mat classes are a way in which you can bring Pilates to more people. You just don't have to teach it in a Pilates studio. A Pilates reformer teacher training program is going to focus on reformer-based exercises. This too will include different pieces of equipment. Really common are large box, small dowel, or long. But it may also include other equipment that's sometimes used in classes like a magic circle or light weights, and it really depends upon the program. Something to keep in mind with a reformer teacher training program is it's really going to lock you in into teaching only reformer classes. So if you work in a studio that has a Cadillac or window chair, you won't be able to teach on those pieces of equipment. And to round out your practice, you're not going to be able to teach on mat. And this is something that I did as a comprehensive teacher. Even though in the beginning I focused on teaching in Pilates studios, I always taught mat classes beyond the Pilates studio as well. I just love bringing Pilates to more people. And while I was building up my schedule, teaching mat classes was a really easy way to do that. A comprehensive Pilates teacher training program includes a lot of different larger pieces of apparatus: reformer, Cadillac, window chair, high barrel, and the list can go on. We'll also incorporate mat Pilates. And what's included in each teacher training program is really dependent upon that individual organization. And it can be also dependent upon what equipment's available. So for my teacher training program, I had access to reformer, Cadillac, window chair, high barrel. I had to go to another Pilates studio to learn on the pedal pull and armchair. So it's just helpful to know when you're looking into your teacher training program, what's included during your foundational level training and what's going to be considered as continuing education or even optional. And I bring this up because continuing education is part of being a Pilates teacher. And this happens in a few ways. It's informal, like you will continue learning from the people who you're teaching, and then more curriculum-based, where you're going to be learning new exercises or different pieces of equipment or different teaching strategies. And that's usually through continuing education credit courses through teacher training programs themselves. And this is what's so exciting, is that being a Pilates teacher, you are always refining your personal practice. You're learning more about yourself and also more about how to teach the Pilates method. My suggestion is ask yourself the question, when you're moving with Pilates classes, what classes do you gravitate towards? That's most likely going to be the type of teacher training program that you want to enroll in. When I enrolled in mine, a comprehensive program, I was taking both mat and classes on the larger equipment. And I really thought there was only comprehensive teacher training programs. Well, now there's more options. And I began teaching in a Pilates studio. And as I was teaching a mat class one day, and it was with a client who knew me really well. She came to my mat sessions and tower and reformer classes. She would come to private classes as well. She said, Beth, I know that you work in the studio with all this large equipment, but you're really a Pilates mat teacher. And I thought, what a strange thing to say to me. I'm just a Pilates teacher. I'm not just teaching a Pilates mat class. But what she was able to really tune into, which I didn't even know at the time, was that I taught Pilates mat classes just in a different way than I taught on the equipment. And it was once I left the Pilates studio because I wanted to bring Pilates to more people. So I was teaching at a university, I was exclusively teaching there, that I had the thought of, I want people to feel like the spring is helping them out, or like they're getting more inner thigh connection using a magic circle. But for most of the people coming to my classes, they weren't going to a Pilates studio and they may never. So I had to get creative and think, how can I give them that studio experience without them ever going into a Pilates studio? And I realized that I kept walking by a yoga blanket, yoga blocks, and yoga straps, and I never thought to incorporate them into how I was teaching because they had yoga in front of the name. And once I picked up a block and used it in place of a magic circle, and used a blanket in place of a box to elevate the pelvis, and now people felt more ease in their hips and back, they started connecting to their bodies in a different way. They started connecting to the Pilates method more. And that unlocked something for me where I began incorporating other pieces of equipment, like a wall. Before Pilates wall workouts became a rage, doing more standing exercises. The movements that had only ever been done on the reformer or Cadillac or the other pieces of equipment, I brought to the mat. And what I noticed is I enjoyed teaching more. People started enjoying the classes more and getting more benefits. The sessions became more popular. And all of a sudden, I was thriving, not just as a Pilates teacher, but as a Pilates mat teacher. And that really has been my specialty since 2012. And when I first began my teacher training program in 2003, if you would have said, you're in this comprehensive program, Beth, but you're really going to thrive as a mat teacher, I would have said, no way. And one of the reasons why is because my comprehensive program, as valuable as it was, because we had to focus on so many different pieces of equipment, not much time was given to the mat. And so I learned very few exercises. And I think that's why in the beginning, my mat classes were much more repetitive. I didn't find as much joy in them. And once I thought about the entire method that I had been moving with and how I can bring more of that studio style, reformer inspired exercises, pedipole, wounded chair, all that beautiful equipment, just with mat variations, it was incredible. And that's something that I want you to consider, is that any teacher training program that you're enrolling in, it's really going to be a good springboard into your passion that you're pursuing. You may also want to consider, what else are you going to layer onto this? So for myself, I'm a generalist, and I work with a lot of Pilates teachers who we just like teaching Pilates, and we're going to adapt it based upon who we're teaching. That's what you're going to learn in your teacher training program. It's an incredibly rich experience. And yet some people come into my program and they know, I want to be a perinatal specialist, or I'm retired. I'm going to work with older adults, and so I want to do osteosafe classes. And what's fabulous about that is then you know your path and lens of how you're going to learn the method. Because when you're learning variations for the 100, you'll focus on the osteosafe variations or perinatal or prenatal considerations. When you focus on the way in which you like to move with Pilates, that's going to inspire the type of teacher training program that you want to focus on: mat, reformer, or comprehensive. Follow your intuition with that. Follow your gut. Pilates is all about the core after all. There actually is a gut-brain connection, that mind-body connection that we know even more about. So lean into that. Just like there's different types of teacher training programs, there's different formats: in-person, online, hybrid, and you want to make sure that you're choosing the one that aligns with your learning style and lifestyle. In the next video, we're focusing on, is an online Pilates teacher training program really worth it? What to look for, what to avoid, and what's the right fit for you?